Rick and Bubba's show. Coca-Cola Suites on location today. Regions Tradition, the Greystone Golf and Country Club. And Bubba and his group are teeing off. We'll try to get an update from that. Coach Nick Saban taking time to visit with us again this year. Coach, good to see you.
Great to see you. What about the music, man? Where we come up with the music?
Well, what would you? Are you a country and western guy? What would you prefer to hear?
No, I like the Rolling Stones and the Eagles.
Okay. Well, I got that in here too.
Organ music.
So you're not a big Coldplay guy. Not a lot of Coldplay in the pod.
No, I think it worked well with you. I'm good with that.
Well, don't make me get in here and all. I got Stones. I got Eagles. I got it all.
Well, good.
I want to tell you, my dad.
Just roll it out.
I don't know if you. My dad is Coach Bill Burgess, who just went into the Hall of Fame last weekend in Alabama, coached at Jacksonville State all those years. So I was raised by a football coach, and he wanted me to tell you that he had his hip replaced and he beat you by one day. That he got back to work one day before you did.
Well, that's good.
Well, you guys, my dad never believed anybody was hurt or injured.
Just like your dad, he fits into this category of. They don't make them like they used to.
Amen.
And there's not many of us left.
No question. Thank you for. He was very proud of you.
Yeah, I'm when all you young bucks get a hip replacement, I want to know how long it takes you to come back. That's the question.
They be out of work for a month. You never hear from him. So thank you for. He was very proud of you. He said you continue on. Ain't many of y'all left.
Well, congratulate him.
That was good.
It's great that he's.
No, it was great.
Recognized.
And like you say, those guys. There's not many of those guys left, and I appreciate you still being a little bit of the old school. Good to have you back. Let's talk about you. Probably, obviously, you guys have gone through another spring, and you guys through spring. You only know so much, but you can have some kind of idea of where you are. Sometimes people look good in the spring and never look good again, but at least are you able to come away with much out of the spring that you at least made some progress with the team?
Well, I think what we try to do in the spring is we're trying to develop our team, and then when spring practice is over, we're really trying to evaluate where are we with each individual player, with each unit, offensively, defensively, special teams, and then clearly define what do each one of these people have to do. What are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? What are the things they need to do to work on? And how do we put a plan together so we can utilize the summer and fall camp to have each guy know exactly what he has to do, and also from an offensive and defensive standpoint, big picture standpoint, unit standpoint, do the same thing. So I'm not so concerned about, look, we're not disappointed in where we are. We're not satisfied with where we are. But I think the focus is what do we need to do to get where we want to go.
Yeah, and you can't accomplish that. What about, we were talking, Coach Smart was on too, this new world of it seems like do we ever get to a point now where you go, okay, this player wants to be with us. They can commit early, then they can decommit. You only have so much access to them. Now we've got them on the teams, and now what I know probably look good on paper, now they can go into a portal. So now you're trying to keep – is this something that maybe look good on paper but is going to get chaotic? I mean, when do you ever get to the point where you think, all right, when is the player finally committed, hey, you're going to be here with us? You feel like you're having to constantly work on, hey, here's why you need to stay with us?
Well, I think we're living in a time with a younger generation that, if I want something, I should be able to have it now.
That's so true.
And I think that's okay.
Yeah.
But I also think that maybe part of the difference is when we grew up is what do you have to do to get it? What work do you have to do? What habits do I have to create? And it takes a little bit of time to commit yourself to development, as a player. And there's not always instant self-gratification, and sometimes you like to see people get some benefit from just knowing they did their best to be the best that they could be and have pride in their performance. But I think we live in such an outcome-oriented world right now, and there's a lot of people out there that, sort of are talking to these young people all the time about outcomes rather than having visions and goals for what they want to accomplish, which is different than outcomes. So, I think the system that we have, if we'd implement it correctly, you can't put the decision-making in the wrong people's hands.
True.
And I think if we get to the point where first of all, as coaches, and I don't care what coach you had on here, and Kirby's included in this because he was with us for a long time, we all want what's best for the player. We're all working to try to help them develop to be more successful in life as people, as students, as football players. And sometimes there's a little bit of a misconception out there that, maybe that's not the case, but that is the case. And sometimes we're trying to get people to do the right thing, and then they can walk down the hall and leave. It would be no different than if you're a parent out there and you're trying to raise your children the right way, and all of a sudden you're reprimanding them for something they didn't do correctly, and they say, hey, I'm just going to go move and live next door. I'm not going to do what you say.
Exactly.
And I'm not sure that's good for 18, 19, 20, 21-year-olds. Look, we want to help all these guys be successful, but, sometimes there's a process to that they need to commit to and devote themselves to and trust and believe that that's going to help them get where they want to go in the long run.
Well, and just what you just said, think about this, and we've talked about this a lot, just talking about the generation of being afraid, as you said, for them not to have instant gratification, afraid that they've got to persevere through something, afraid that something's going to be difficult, afraid they're going to get their feelings hurt, afraid they're not going to get what they want. It's bigger than sport. It's bigger than football, to the point you made. Think about marriages. What are you going to have? You're going to have a husband that says, well, this is hard. I don't like how this is going. Then he walks out and leaves his whole family.
Right.
I mean, that attitude can creep into your life in places that are much more important than sport.
Well, I don't think there's any question about that, and I don't disagree with that at all. And but I think still there's a right way to try to go about doing the things you need to do to be successful. And you got to make commitments, and you got to have some perseverance, and you got to learn how to overcome adversity. And those lessons in life are still very, very valuable because nothing ever goes exactly like it seems, or is exactly like we'd want it to go. And how you manage that really determines to a large degree how successful you're going to be.
Let's talk about, we talk about how football has changed. You've been at it a while. What are things about football that never change?
Oh, to me, there's, toughness, controlling the line of scrimmage, both sides of the ball, running it. You got to be able to stop the run. You got to make explosive plays. You got to take care of the football. I think, the technical aspects, whether they're RPOs or whatever, those things change. But when it comes right down to it, there's some fundamental things that are always going to be important to having a chance to be successful. Nick
Saban has a day to himself, and I'm going to take work out because I know you like to work. What are you going to do if you say, today I'm going to relax? What do you like to do? And I know you don't like to relax a lot, but let's say you had to. What would you do?
There's two things that I absolutely love. I love the water, so I like going to the lake, or I like going to the beach, and I like to play golf. And I like to be around my family and children and grandchildren and Miss Terry and all that. So it would be some combination of those three things, and maybe all three of them if I could get them all in the same day.
That'd be the perfect day.
That'd be the perfect
Water
day.
and family, and we're spending time together, and we're chilling.
That's it.
And how long can you be not doing something before you have to be doing something?
I lasted for 6 hours when I came back from the hospital. We got back, we got operated on Monday night. We got out Tuesday. I got home at 9. I had to sit in a chair. Miss Terry decided that she was going to take the dogs to the lake. So that was 3 o'clock. So when she came back, I was walking around in the yard. She said, if you don't get back in the house and sit in a chair, I'm going to call the police on you.
So I guess the record we're going to say is 6 hours?
6 hours. I lasted 6 hours.
Well, she's going to have to bring law enforcement to get you to sit down. Yeah, well, look, I'm glad, man. I think
it's not the first time she's called the law on me.
Well, look, we all know that if we didn't have those kind of women in our life, we'd probably get in a lot of trouble, wouldn't we?
That's exactly right.
Yeah, and let me tell you something. I think she needs some kind of award. I mean, you talk about the wives. Coaches' wives in general, they need their own Hall of Fame because what they have to go through and the way they have to live is incredible.
Well, I think it's really, really hard to be successful if you don't have a very supportive wife and understand, because the culture of what we do is it's not just a job. It's really kind of a way of life.
No doubt.
We're in partnership as parents with every parent that has, their son in our program. So it takes a lot of time, and it takes a lot of care, and it takes a lot of relationship building. And, you have to have a wife that's also kind of committed to that as well.
No doubt. Well, you got a great one. So, hey, thanks for taking time to be with us. I know you get pulled in a lot of directions. Thanks for including us in it today.
All right, thank you.
Coach Nick Saban.